We just got our first glimpse at Bobby Petrino. The Bobby Petrino experiment. Take two. He's back. It resulted in a 3-point loss to a top 15 team on the road in one of the toughest environments in the country. Razorbacks fell just short, 34-31. Tennessee wins that game. This game had its frustrations, had parts where it was annoying. It felt like some of the same things, just a couple of them. And as a fan, you want to win everything. You want your team to have success. So that competitive nature makes it to where you're just, you want to win. It's frustrating. But there's a lot of good in this. There's a lot of good in this game. First glimpse of Petrino. This was the first of 7 different opportunities he has. I would call this season the Bobby Petrino interview. The longest interview we've ever had for an Arkansas coach. He's got 7 games to prove himself. This was the first of that. And if I have anything to say about it, it's pretty promising. We're going to go ahead and look at some of these stats, some of these different things. And really, when you look at it, few things just happen to go the other way. We're looking at a different result here. As is the case with 3-point games always. And, I'm not trying to make all these excuses. They have to actually do these things in order for us to win. But when we're looking at it, first game with an interim coach, entire defensive coaching staff is fired. All of the position coaches, all of the coordinators fired. You don't know what to expect from these kids. We don't know if the togetherness is going to be there. I think that was there. I think they fought. I think the defense was improved. I think there was a lot of good in this game. So I know we don't like hearing about moral victories, but this is a very important moral victory. And you're going to hear about moral victories when you fire your coach not even halfway through the season. We're going to have some stepping stone, some level of hope, and I really think we got a lot of it today. So we're going to go ahead and look at these stats and see what we can find. First off, you got Taylen Green right there. He didn't play a perfect game. If he plays a perfect game, we win this. No doubt in my mind, we win this. But we look at it right there, and he's up against Joey Aguilar, who's been incredible. And we look at the little matchup there. I mean, Taylen Green beats him out on yards, more touchdowns. Neither one of them have an interception. You look at that QB rating, that's 20 more. It's impressive. It's good. You look at the passing completion percentage, it's probably about the same. Right? I mean, he in that matchup, quarterback versus quarterback, he did his job through the air. Now, ball security, we'll talk about that in a minute. But from that aspect, we did fine. We look at running the ball. Look at our rushing stats. I mean, averaging over 5 yards per carry is awesome. Who wouldn't run the ball 45 times when you're averaging that? You're going to run the ball a lot. Now, Tennessee, they averaged even more than that. Our defense still has its struggles. But efficiency on offense is what we have to do. We cannot expect the worst defense in the SEC all of a sudden go and become even middle of the pack. That expectation would be ridiculous. What we have to hope for is just to be a little bit better. A little bit better. Not be absolutely terrible to where it's almost a guarantee that a touchdown scored against you every single time your opponent touches the ball. And I think we got that there. I know there was several stops. There were some times where Tennessee made it pretty far, had some momentum, and they ended up having to kick 3. That's what we need. We don't need a perfect defense. We need a defense that it steps up in certain moments. And really, Tennessee's defense isn't that great either. But that's what they've had. Is they've had an opportunistic defense. They step up in moments where they need to. And our receivers here, I mean, you lose Jaylen Brown, you would lose a guy who's a big part of this team. And you kind of wonder, who's going to step up? How are they going to respond? And I think these guys responded well. I mean, Tennessee was pretty clear from the start. They had one of their most trusted guys, maybe their most trusted guy, Guarding Omega Blake. Wherever he went, you go. That was the message from the Tennessee coaching staff to that particular player. And that guy did good on his matchup. Omega Blake had one of the, slightly lesser games of his season so far, which when a lesser game is 5 receptions for 65 yards, you're a pretty good receiver. But we look at these other receivers, and you have Raylan Sharp here. I think he had the best game of his season so far. I mean, those numbers are something he's not had. 7 receptions, we've not had to rely on him all that much. CJ Brown had a decent amount of yards. Cam Shanks, he did more than he's done most of the season. I think they stepped up to the challenge. Our tight ends, I wish we had more production from them, but, beggars can't be choosy. The receiving room stepped up for this game, this matchup, and that is promising. We need them to be able to do this week in and week out, and for the most part, they really have. But I like it when we see these numbers and we're not seeing one guy get all the targets. Andrew Armstrong was that guy for us last year. And it doesn't seem like it has to be that way this year. Omega Blake was covered and did just fine. We look at Tennessee's receiving core. Their guy who I've been told at least is their best guy is Chris Brazzell. 1 reception, 5 yards. Broadcast mentioned it 20,000 times that he's tied for first for the most touchdowns of any receiver this season. No touchdowns. So we did well with our matchup there, and that's even considering all of our defensive coaching staff was fired. The position coaches, the defensive coordinator. Now we have assistant defensive coaches, we have grad assistants, we have all those things. I wouldn't have expected that. There's reason for hope. This current coaching staff, the interim defensive coaching staff, they did well on that. Now, as you can see on the screen here, and I'm sure some of you guys were just looking at it, fumbles. This is where we lost. The game was lost. Fumbles. I would say that alone, and the game we win. I don't want to say it's easy. I don't want to say it's a blowout. It wouldn't be those things. It would still be very close, especially what we looked at with the third quarter being completely Tennessee. But 4 fumbles, 3 of them were lost. Taylen Green cannot fumble the ball 3 times and us be able to win a game. It's not going to happen. At what point do you learn? He's got to control the ball better. He is, as I said, he's such a great playmaker. You saw there was a time where they sent 6, maybe even 7 guys. They sent everybody. He was able to run around and pick up several yards. That's just natural ability that I don't know if another guy in college football has, especially not the position of quarterback. There are scramblers, they're talented, athletic guys, but not like Taylen Green. Don't fumble the ball. If he does not have these turnovers, he's in the Heisman race. And honestly, I would say we'd be a 1-loss team at this point if it weren't for turnovers, especially from Taylen Green. That's where it's lost. But we look at this defense, and I want to look at this just to go over what the game plan was. I think when we're looking at this, it's pretty evident that our game plan is to try to slow the game down, not let Tennessee make massive big plays. We looked at what the receivers did. Yes, there were some big plays, but we stopped their top guy. They didn't really have just one play, boom, they're in. They had some big plays, but it wasn't what we saw previously with this defense, where it is just they can go one play, touchdown, just like that. We slowed the game down, and I think it's evident when you look at the sacks. None. We didn't have any sacks. You look at the tackles for loss. We had 2. You may argue, oh, the defense is still bad, whatever. But you look at the way this game played out, and you look at their receiver stats, Tennessee's receiver stats, especially that Chris Brazzell. I think it's clear we wanted to try to keep the ball in front of us. Now, one of the other factors that played a lot in this game was second half. Offensive line, they didn't look too great. They had some struggles. There were some times where it was like, really, we're being sacked again? Again that quickly? Or we'd run the ball and be like, we're stuffed. We're stuffed again. That's something that we have had, and that is still an issue. Can't you swept under the rug. This season, first half offense, incredible. Second half, stops quite a bit. But what was promising about this, and I think it is one of the differences from having Petrino as the coach now and Pittman gone, is this team, they didn't give up, right? Notre Dame, you saw how quickly they gave up, right? The defense wasn't doing anything. The offense was just like, well, we're not scoring every possession. How can we win? Gave up. But this team, I think they played complementary football, especially in that fourth quarter, to where we gave ourselves a shot. We did. I mean, the defense came up big with some big stops, and the offense started stringing things together, where we had it to where, man, we get one stop. At that very end, our offense has an opportunity to go out and win that game. We played complementary football this game. Our game plan was clear for what we wanted to do. And that's refreshing. It really is. It's refreshing. The biggest thing to me, though, wasn't seen in the box score. It's seen in this team stats. And it is third downs. You look at third down efficiency. Arkansas had 13 third down attempts. Made over half of them. Made 7. You look at Tennessee. They had 9 times. Only converted twice. So Arkansas is over 50%. Tennessee, under 25. Dominated on third down. Both sides of the ball, not just offense. That, if there is one stat from this game to give you hope, that is it right there. The defense got off the field on third downs. They got off the field. I don't know if there's anything else on here that's important. I mean, possession. I mean, that goes through for just what the game plan was and how clear it was. Possession. Now, we're not trying to play Brett Bielema where we're trying to have the ball for 45 minutes. But we wanted to give our defense breath. We wanted to keep it to where the possessions were somewhat limited. And we did that. Now, and I think that's an answer to what many Razorback fans have been asking from what I've been seeing on social media. And that is, why did Bobby Petrino go for it on fourth down? I believe it was 4th and 4. He went for it. We could have kicked a field goal. The field goal would have tied the game at that point. We lost by a field goal. If he would have kicked the field goal, outcome could have been very different. My response to that is, first, you have to understand the game plan, right? You look at this and you look at, okay, we're trying to control the clock. And then we looked at those stats. We're trying to keep everything in front of us. And then we look at, what happened with the defensive coaching staff. Our trust in the defense isn't all there. We look at what we've done offensively this year. Our trust in the offense, sure as hell is there. So we're going to trust our offense. Pick up 4 yards. Make it a 4-point swing. Because we don't want to be playing from behind against Tennessee. That's very difficult. You look at what their rushing stats were. They were incredibly efficient. So Bobby Petrino did something that was so opposite of Sam Pittman in that moment. And in hindsight, it did not pay off. But I love the decision. Sam Pittman, so many times throughout his career, we would have momentum. It would be 4th and 1 in no man's land, and we would punt the ball. Do you remember what Razorback fans, what you would do when he would punt that ball? You would boo. Hunter would go out there and we would boo. And now we're criticizing Petrino for having the balls to do something Pittman got criticized for. Maybe if he went for it a couple of those times, we won't be looking at this exact same thing. Maybe he'd have a few more wins and a little bit more leeway going into this season. Maybe. But what we don't have to worry about is Petrino has faults. He's going to go for it. He trusts his offense. If he believes the momentum's there, if he believes in his quarterback, He's going to do it. He's going to go. And I think that belief shows a lot. All right. You can't judge everything based off of hindsight. That was the correct decision in that. So when we're looking at this game, third down efficiency, dominated there. If that keeps up, very bright spot for us looking forward. Then we go and we look at, okay, look at this right here. I mean, this that's on your screen right here at this moment. Across the board, so much of this, to me, if we eliminate that turnover, points to Arkansas winning this game. I mean, you even look at penalties. Our fans have criticized our players, me, myself. Maybe not necessarily as much in this season, but in previous seasons, of committing too many dumb penalties. We're on the road with 100,000 fans screaming, and we commit one penalty, 10 yards. Tennessee committed 10, 78 yards on their home turf. That's a refreshing step. The thing that has to change is the turnovers. We know it. I know it. Bobby Petrino knows it. Taylen Green knows it. It's not a care issue. I promise you, Taylen Green, Braylon Russell, they care. Braylon Russell on his fumble stayed on the ground a little bit. Head on the ground, head down. Practically punching the ground. He's mad at himself. He cost his team. They care. But caring's not always the issue. Caring's clearly not the issue here. So we've got to be able to take care of the ball. When you look at Taylen Green especially, some of those throws, he is rolling left, twisting his body to make a throw while he's got a defender on his heels. You can't do that. That defender happens to get a hand on the ball like he did that one time. Game changes right there. So we clean up on the turnovers. We continue to have good third down efficiency. And the defense does a little bit. There's hope for this season. Petrino's interview could go well. He could be our head coach. It's a lot to look forward to. And, I mean, next week, it's not going to be easy. Not going to be easy in the slightest bit. Next week, who do we have? Of all teams, who do we have? We have one of the better teams in the conference, one of the better teams in the country. We have the 5th ranked Texas A&M Aggies, and they may move up. They will move up, matter of fact, after Oregon's loss. And we have them on our home field. Go out. See Petrino's home debut for over a decade. Support this team, and crazier things have happened. We always seem to play Texas A&M pretty tough, close game. Crazy things can happen.